This wasn't built for the mainstream, and it damn sure wasn't made to be safe. What started as a spark between culture, struggle, and pride has erupted into Sabor y Cultura, a movement that's rewriting the rules with every brand, bottle, and bite. In this episode, I sit down with the men behind the noise, Pyro Lou, the architect of the chaos, and Roger Bravo, the voice that keeps it grounded. They're not here to go viral, they're here to make history. If you've ever felt disconnected from the culture or questioned where the real ones are, you're about to find out. This is more than an event, it's a reckoning. Welcome to Sabor y Cultura. On this episode of Tactical Tequila Podcast with your host, Matt Wilson. If you enjoy the show, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it to your social media platforms. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show. Welcome back, everyone. Sabor y Cultura wasn't built in boardrooms. It was carved out of struggle, soul, and street hustle. Pyro Lou lit the match, turning a grassroots vision into a full-blown cultural uprising. Roger Bravo, he brought the voice, the grounding, the movement in the heritage, the honesty, and the heat. This isn't just an event, it's a rebellion dressed in rhythm, food, and pride. No scripts, no filters, just two men pushing culture forward by any means necessary. Welcome to the movement. Welcome to Sabor. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So just to kind of dive into things right away, Roger, what do you feel like the rawest moment of Sabor Chicago was, and how did it hit differently than the previous?
Oh, wow. There's I'll tell you the one that sat with me the best. This was right around 5:30, so we had already gotten past the VIPs. We're now into general admission, and we're starting to get a good crowd there. I had a couple friends from Chicago. I was walking through sort of like a little VIP hand guided tour type of thing, and I had two brand owners pull me aside and thank me for sort of twisting their arm to be part of our event. They were saying, at first we weren't interested, and we are so glad we're here. This is great. They said, both of them were talking about how experienced the crowd was, that this was not some tacos and tequila, give me a shot event, that the term was, you have a lot of agave nerds here, and they are asking really good detailed questions. And I thought about Lou's vision, and it's exactly what he wanted. And it was like, after all that hard work and stress, that moment, I just relaxed, like, we did it, so that was the main moment for me.
And Lou, what do you think surprised you most about the crowd for this event as opposed to past?
Well, we weren't sure. I think the problem with doing an event outside of your little, your area or a couple thousand miles away, um, you don't know the neighborhood, you don't know the community as well. We've been there a few times. We were able to visit Chicago a few times and kind of get to meet a lot of people, but we really didn't know how it was going to react with the people that showed up. We didn't know the community or much people out there, but we heard that there was this rising agave community in Chicago and surrounding areas. So we were we just weren't sure what we were going to get, what we were going to have in attendance that night. And we were surprised. We were surprised that we had, like, what I like to have, like Roger said, agave nerds. Yeah, I love people who actually care about what they're drinking, care about what goes into their glass. And it goes back to my vision of making sure that we have an event that is good for everybody, both the attendees and the brands, because there's nothing more than, nothing better, I think, for you to feel as a creator of something than to have somebody acknowledge your creation,
Hmm.
product. If you spend all this time and years, and a lot of people don't realize tequila, yeah, you can make it quick, but to make it good, it takes some time, and it takes quite some time to really to get to the place where you want to get to. And these brands are really putting a lot of effort, a lot of time to get to where they are. And man, we had some great new tequilas there, in Chicago, and I just love the fact that we had people there to appreciate it.
And would you say that there was one defining moment that brought it full circle for you? I know Roger hinted on the moment for him, but was there one moment for you?
Um, it's no, to be honest, it's just for me. My thing is this: I roll with what we're doing. I go with what we're going. The way we're going, we roll with it and roll with the punches. But kind of, I'm very appreciative of what's going on, what's happening at that moment. But I'm always gotta be thinking ahead. That's just my thing. It's part of my training as as fire department. It's kind of always thinking next. What's next? What can we do next? Well, how are we going to prepare for next? And what can we utilize? What do we learn to utilize for the next event? And like, of course, we got our next event less than in a month away, and then we have LA, our big event. It's 2 months away. So I'm very appreciative of everything that we get, all the information we're getting, all the people attending. But I'm always looking to make it better because my thing is always make your next event better than the last.
And so when talking about planning, was there something that didn't go as planned, and how did you guys adapt to that?
Roger.
Yeah. Okay. So you were there. You saw our event at the Morgan Arts Complex. Um, Lou and I had walked through there. I forgot when that was. Lou, was it October last year?
It
December? It
was
was
no early November.
okay. It's okay. We walked through there, and we immediately thought this is not going to be big enough. But that isn't even the area that we were promised. There's a large, airplane hangar size warehouse attached to the backside of that building, sort of behind where we had our stage. Um, it was under construction. We were promised to be done well beyond your time. We had so much space. Planning for me was simple. It wasn't like we had to figure out where all the tables were going to go. We just had so much room. That 1414 room for the 1414 brands. It was just a big open space they were going to have. What was it, Lou? About 4 weeks before our date, that's less than a month, we get an email saying, sorry, that space isn't going to be available for your event. And Lou and I were just, oh my God,
Oh,
we've told everybody it's Morgan Arts Complex, all of this. And now we don't have the event. And they said, but you can use our inside space. And Lou and I remembered it not being big enough. So we flew out to Chicago on another tactical trip, and we got there and we walked in, and I start pacing off the the floors, and I'm going, "Hey Lou, I think we could make this work." So it was a complete last minute pivot. So everything you saw there was technically like 2.5 weeks of planning to get that space set up like it is.
Okay. And with this not just being a festival and it's more of a movement and culture, what would you say, um, how did it feel to you guys being the organizers once everything was done?
oh, it was great. I think it turned out. Uh, there were some things that I kind of wanted to do differently, but I mean, it can always be better. No, nothing's ever perfect. It can always be better. So there was some things that I wasn't able to do, and I'm not going to mention it because then nobody noticed it. But there are some things that I would always want to include in my events, and we've talked about it before in the past. But I mean, there's always things that could be better. But I think it actually came out really well, and people really enjoyed it. And, as far as overall, I think it's the best part about it. I think for me was just for us actually was the learning, adapting, being able to adapt and overcome some of these issues that we had, like the venue issue, and we had some other issues going on too. That was kind of dragging on for a little while, but we made it work, and I think that was the best part about it, is being able to learn to adapt and overcome those situations because we don't know we don't do this for a living. We're not businessmen. We're not festival organizers, for a living. Now we're doing this. We're playing. We're acting. We're in an acting position, but we're not really. It's not what we've been trained to do. We're just kind of trying to figure it out on the fly, and basically trying to do the best we can. And I think that the learning points is the biggest takeaway for me.
Yeah, I'd like add to that. When we had the large airplane hangar space, we wanted the stage to sort of be the central area, and everything sort of revolved around the stage. So the dancers or the mariachi would be right there in the middle. The way we had to do it with the stage over at the far end, it worked, but it wasn't as central as we really wanted it to be to the event. But I don't think anybody complained about it. I just think when the vision Lou and I had, it would have been more central to the event. One other thing, Matt, our LA event, probably the biggest mistake we made in LA was we weren't prepared for the crowd that showed up at the VIP entrance time. And we had a line. The line was halfway down the block. And you might say, well, isn't that a good thing? The problem is we sold VIP tickets and you can get in an hour early. And we heard complaints that they were, 20 minutes of that they were stuck in line. And we vowed to make sure we fixed that. And we did. We hired extra help. We were there at the door. We made sure people came through. I never saw the line get any deeper than, 6 or 7 people, and we were processing them, really quick. So I think, as Lou said, we're not professionals. We're learning as we go, but we took that mistake from LA and we cleared it up. So that's what we'll continue to look for any opportunities to make things better each time.
Another issue with LA was the food. Remember, we had a food issue.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
didn't- we thought people were going to eat normal sized amount of food, but we ran out of food really quickly in LA. So this time I got 5 different restaurants. We got Pepsi and Topo Chico. We got everybody. We got extra PFAS in our drinks and everything. So we, yeah, we made sure we covered that. And it's funny. We had 5 different food vendors, and they almost sold. I think all of them except for 2 sold out. So that was another good thing. We learned, we adapted, we overcame for the next one. Make it better.
And honestly, that's half the battle. And each one, you're going to learn something new from the previous. So you're always going to be adapting and learning. And I think that if you're not adapting and learning from it, then what are you doing in the space? Because ideally, you guys always want to make things better. And for the events that I have been where you guys have produced it, like each one has blown me away. Like LA blew me away, and then going to Chicago, I was like, wow. Like having the 1414 cantina in there, and then all the other brands on the exterior of the cantina. Like it made it walking in, and you're like, okay, like this is very interesting, because getting the access into the 1414 area, and then now you have a speakeasy inside there,
Yeah.
which was pretty cool
So
in my opinion.
one thing is we have to make sure that we give all the credit to that cantina. Don't give it to me. Don't give it to Roger. Don't give it to nobody in Sabor y Cultura. All of that was this little brainchild of Alex. Alex LaCroix from Siempre. Him and his crew and all the brands, the 1414 brands that got together to kind of put this thing together. Man, they went overboard. They went. Cesar Vivanco, Sergio Vivanco was there. We had, Tao Tequila. We had all these different brands. We had Alma de Jaguar. All these different brands were there. Of course, Lost Lore. They're all there. They're all helping put this big showcase of the Vivanco distillery, 1414. And it came out amazing. It came out great. They all worked together, and that's awesome. But all the credit for that has to go to Alex and his team and everybody at Siempre. And people keep telling us, "Hey, man, that's awesome. That's great. Oh, man, you guys we didn't do anything. We so I appreciate it. Thanks for that. But really, that's them, and those guys are awesome. Those guys, Alex and his team, Daniel. I think I can build anything. But
Yeah.
those guys can really put stuff together. And if you've seen them, you follow them on social media, you see them at other events too. And man, they go. Last year, they had in our LA event, they had the margarita bike. Remember that?
Yeah.
They had a margarita bike, which is awesome. And they had somebody also. They had artists painting bottles. He was just coloring up and painting bottles and stuff like that. That makes it unique, makes it special for the attendees that come. So we're very appreciative of brands like that take the extra step to make their stuff really stand out. And then on top of that, they have amazing product. It's just like it's a win-win for everybody, and especially for us that we're able to have them there to showcase. So, and great to call them. We're just lucky to call them friends and them to be there and create, and it's awesome.
That room looked very different. We just gave him an empty room. Said, Alex, is this room about 60 by 30 room? Is this going to work for you? And we just saw the wheels turning, the ideas. But if you would have seen it before and after what they did, you don't realize all those walls with those. They bought all that wood, like fence board, and they built all those walls and that whole room on the spot in like 2 days.
That's what Rudy was telling me when I called him, because I called him the day before and I said, "Hey, what time are you getting to industry night?" And he's like, he FaceTimed me at that point and was like, "Hey, I'm working. I don't know when I'm going to get there."
Yeah. So it does. We can always count on Alex to do something fun and exciting, and it helps us. But yeah, I sent him a little thank you. Just, hey man, I know you guys worked really hard, and we appreciate it.
And talking about people who came, Roger, was there somebody that came and you didn't expect them to be there? And what did their presence mean by being there?
Well, we pretty much had heard about, the Lou Agave, Long Island Lou. I've chatted with him over social media for, I don't know, the last 3 years or so. And that was, that Friday night at our industry night was my first chance to meet him. So I was looking forward to meeting Lou. Honestly, if I had to say there was one person that I was ready to just bow down to, it was Oscar, the master distiller, their Manuscrito. I mean, he's created some really good juice. Heard a lot about him from his days at G4. He worked with Pedro at Primo. He's done a lot, and and it was funny because he was like, "Oh, I've been anxious to meet you." I said, "Me?" I'm like, "You're already almost made it to the tequila, the Mount Rushmore of tequila. We're going to have Oscar on that, So I was really excited to see him, and I give it to the guys at Manuscrito, Jake Taylor, Mike. I mean, for those guys to bring Long Island Lou, Oscar, even Roberto Lopez, the distillery owner and master distiller for Zumbador. That was a great turnout for one technically brand new brand. They didn't even have their tequila out of Mexico yet, So, and that's one brand I'm excited about. It's the samples they sent me blew me away. So,
were there any moments where either of you had to check your own emotions just to stay locked in on the event?
I'll let Lou answer that, because some people said they saw a certain side of me they hadn't seen, at the start.
Oh man, so it's I love Roger. Roger, like, is like a brother, this guy. And I've seen many sides of Roger, and they're all hilarious for me. And I love them all. But man, I saw Roger was he was probably about a 9 out of a 10. That was a 9 out of 10 at one point during the night. And it was when a lot of people were coming in, and some brands were still kind of getting all set up. It was early on, and it was people coming in and everything, all stuff going on. And like for me, I'm more of a idea guy. I'm a very idea guy. I'll throw out ideas. I'll throw out ideas all day. I got tons of ideas. Ideas that don't even make sense. It's like they're not feasible at all whatsoever. It's like they're like no, don't ever do that. But that's why I chose this. That's why it worked great with Roger. And when I looked for someone to kind of join me in this thing, and basically people said this is his first event. Well, Roger last year he was very much a part of Sabor y Cultura LA last year.
The event, I would say, not the planning. Lou did all the planning.
But it wasn't officially, but at the event. But I asked some friends to help out, and man, they did so much. And Roger's always been there, sounding board and all that stuff. So I know he's really good. He's really good. He's a really good critical thinker. So he's always looking for ideas. And for me, I've always learned that when you're in a leadership position, that you want people around you that can think differently than you, because that's how you solve ideas. If you have everybody thinking the same thing, then you're all going to see the same thing. But you have different people around you that see things differently, then you can find workarounds, So, and luckily Roger's that guy. Roger's that guy that can really, he's a critical thinker, and he's able to, try to problem solve, even though sometimes I shut him down on some things, but you know what? We work great together. So when I saw him, his his Roger level was going, his stress level was going up to about a 9. Oh, he was up about 9.5, I think, one point. But man, he was running around like, "Hey man, blah, 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 blah." And I can't even get. I'm not gonna get mad. I just laughed. I'm like, man, look at him. This is great. This is great. I love this. But he was hyper focused, But at the same time, as he was doing this, he did it with a smile, because you can tell he's focused, he's on task, because he's got, oh no, this is what I have to do. This, blah, blah, blah. But he's walking around with a smile. He's going, he's moving. I was like, oh, dude, I loved it. It was great.
And just to put some context, where I was losing it is the brands were showing up and they were parking at the loading dock, and they're like unloading one box, and then they stay at their table setting up. No one else can get to the loading dock because their stupid little Jeep is blocking the whole loading dock, and I'm running around trying to find you. So that's where I was getting a little upset at some folks. But yeah, we managed to get everything in time, so worked out.
So now we're moving forward from Chicago and we're going to New York. Roger, how do you take the soul of Chicago and put it into the hustle and bustle, the energy of New York?
Well, first of all, when people ask me about New York, everyone thinks that we're going to be having an event right in the middle of Times Square, and we're not going to be in Manhattan. We're going to be in Long Island. I've been to New York multiple times. I've never been to Long Island. All I've seen is the guys from the New York, New Jersey Agave Club, their posts, their events, and they're solid, top quality. So I think Chicago. It's a city of its own. It had a vibe of its own. I think we're gonna have something completely separate at New York. I don't know, Lou, if you've been to Long Island, but I don't know that area, so I can't really compare it. This is going to be our first time in that area.
Yeah. So when New York came up, my vision of doing something in New York was to do it in downtown in Manhattan, off of Times Square, some nice venue. Some of the venues I was looking at were really nice, and they were really expensive. Go figure, New York. So I started talking to this all came about because Rich Legato and Greg Bartolotta from Asia Agave and New York, New Jersey Agave Club. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, I want to do this, this, this." I said, "Okay, well, like, what are we doing?" And they're like, "Oh, I want to do something for locals." So they want to do something for locals. I was like, "Okay, cool." So then I was like, "Well, I need help find a venue." They're like, "Well, the thing is, if you're gonna do an event for locals in New York, you don't want to go into town. You don't want to go into downtown in Manhattan because traffic. Most of the people live outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's too expensive to live inside. So everyone has to commute in. So they're like, hey, man, you know what? In Long Island, we have a bunch of people out here, and it's a good community because we actually have this Marriott that we can use." And I said, "Well, it's a Marriott. I don't know if that really is going to fit what I like to do because it's not my style. That's not my style at all." But he said, "You know what? The good thing about it is centrally located to a bunch of restaurants and other establishments that we can use for other smaller events leading up to that Saturday." So I said, "Okay." I was like, "All right, cool. Well, I'll take a look." So I looked into it. I looked into it, and we talked some more, and we said, you know what? It's not the New York that everybody thinks of when you say, "Oh, we're going to New York," but it's Long Island. It's a little bit away, but it's a few minutes. That's not too far from JFK. You get off of JFK and go into Long Island a little bit, but it does allow us to have it's a smaller venue. It's a smaller venue. It's, have you been to an event inside a hotel? But it's a large area. I got the largest area that we can get, and so we're looking to bring all that flavor. When we say Chicago vibe and flavor, it's really LA. It's really my flavor, my vibe that I'm bringing to all the events. So it's not really Chicago. Everyone's gonna be, yes, it's gonna be a little bit different, but they're all bringing the same thing. They're all bringing the same kind of characteristics. And I do try to infuse all local flavors into each city that we go to. But it is ultimately still Mexican culture, tradition, and what my vision of that event is. So looking into New York, I said, you know what? It's going to be in a Marriott. Doesn't have to be boring. How can we spice it up? And I've been working with the Marriott and their staff and trying to find workarounds of how we can spice it up so it's not so people think, oh, it's going to be in a Marriott. So some people have even sent me messages like, hey, dude, why you do it in Marriott? It's going to be blah blah blah, this or that. And he goes, like, no, you don't understand what I'm doing. He goes, first off, it's my event. So if you know anything about me, I could throw a party. So it's gonna be good. We got some new brands. We got new brands. We got the same vibe that we're carrying over from LA to Chicago, going to New York. It's a little bit smaller, but it's not gonna be any less sabor. It's still gonna be there. The essence of what we try to do is still gonna be there. And while it may be a little bit smaller, it's really not gonna be missing. You're not gonna be missing much. The only thing you're gonna be missing really is probably the outside area where we were able to incorporate onto our other events. But other than that, yeah, it's gonna be same vibe, same flow, same feeling, same love still coming through at that event.
The last episode that I had you on, you kind of hinted on this and touched on it, but with the way that you guys are expanding city-wise and everybody wanting Sabor in their city, how do you protect the culture from getting watered down?
Well, it's so when I look at every city that I want to go into, I just think about what's there. What's there and why are we doing it there? So, like, a lot of people have reached out to me, like I mentioned before, they've reached out, and a lot of the people reached out, oh, do it at this city, do it here, do it here, do it here, do it here. My thing, I'm not doing this to, raise a bunch of money and say, oh yeah, look, we're whatever. Because if it is, I'm doing it wrong. Because yeah, that's not happening. But it's definitely not happening. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to spread this passion for Mexican spirits. And people say it's tequila or mezcal. yes, it's mostly focused on tequila and mezcal, but I always tell people it's all Mexican. It's all Mexican spirits. I want everybody to, there's so many out there. There's Tusca, there's Raicilla, there's Sotol, there's Bacanora, there's Charanda. There's so many more things out there. There's Mexican whiskeys out. There's so much more out there that people can really enjoy. But it's all part of the culture. It's all different region. It's very regional. It's very cultural. A lot of tradition goes into it. And you have, like Arturo from Lost Lore, his family has a history of not making tequila, but making raicilla, So you have a lot of that, a lot of you know, cross history and stuff like that. And, some little bit of heritage that goes into it. And, so for me, it's the ability to go out there and share this part of my culture, this part of, Mexico. It's spirits, yes, but it's spirits is a core, but it's surrounded the outside of it. It's really, while it is a tasting event, it's just shrouded in the food, the art, the culture, the music, traditions, the mariachi, the ballet folklorico, the Aztec dancers, all these other stuff that we throw in. And the thing is, every event could be a little bit different because we want to bring a little something different to each event. But it's always going to have that core of the spirits surrounded by all these other things and all the different foods. And, we pick foods out based on the region that they come in, so that we don't have just 5 taco guys. Like, no, it's not about that. We want to have some Oaxacan food. We want to have some this, want some that. It's all be different. It's got to be, make sure everybody get something new, get something different flavors. Because it's all about Mexico. It's all about flavor, spicy
Mhm.
flavor. What's wonderful for me, even the tequilas alone. How many flavors of tequila do you get? There's so many. Mezcal, don't even think about counting that. There's
Right.
so many things out there that we can just indulge in. And my thing is, if I can get new people to go out there and try some of these new things that they're not exposed to regularly, perfect. And I try to tell people, and I mentioned this before, don't drink, don't go and excuse me. I go, don't go out there and try to drink the same stuff or sample the same stuff that you drink all the time. We have so many different new spirits. Go try that. We'll find something new, like you'd be surprised.
Well, and I know for Chicago, I sampled probably 5 brands that I've never sampled, and I was blown away by each of those brands. So, like, hats off to you guys for bringing in those small brands that not many people have tried or not many people have even heard of, and bringing them in and having people try them. So, yes, hats off to you guys for that.
Yeah, you know what? Part of the process of doing Sabor y Cultura is ensuring we have, from day one, I always started with a QA QI kind of process. It's a quality assurance. Quality assurance is huge, because my thing is, and I told Roger this even before he was really a part of it. I told him, I told him other friends that we kind of get together. I said, hey, let's try these bottles out. I had people send me samples, of the spirits that they want to showcase at my events. And then I had them to decide, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think people want to try this? People want to taste this? And they're like, yay or nay. And I kind of created my own little tasting panel with my friends. But the reason being is we want to make sure that people are given a chance to have some of these new brands, because there's so many brands out there that you wouldn't think it. We had one brand in Chicago that when somebody they told us they told us the name of it, they told us the nom, they told us where it's made, and they sent it to us, and we're thinking, oh, we were like, yeah, okay, well, we'll try it, we'll see. And man, we were pleasantly surprised. You wouldn't think, just going off of where it's made and, or whatever. And you're thinking, no, whatever. Don't, don't judge a book by its cover. It's
Hmm.
been more real than in Mexican spirits, because how many times do you see a bottle of tequila and, up on that wall at some club, you're like, oh yeah, that looks really nice. That looks really pretty. And then you're like, oh, I wake up the next day, like someone beat you over the head with a baseball bat.
Hangover City.
Yeah, or you're feel like you're drinking pancake syrup or coconut lotion or something. It's like it's just ridiculous. But you have some really good products out there that are being made a lot all the time, and I'm just happy that we were able to try some new ones and have those at our Chicago event. And then so I'm pretty good with that.
Roger, my next question for you is, with the planning of New York, what's your biggest fear going into this event, and how are you going to prepare for it?
I don't know that I have a big fear. Normally for me, it's the venue and space planning, and we've all been to big ballrooms at hotels, so this is what we're getting. We're getting a big ballroom at hotel. Am I worried about bathrooms and elevators or people getting to their room? That's all easy and taken care of. So I think logistically, all I have to do is just lay out the tables for the number of brands that we have and make sure we have um, the proper space and the proper flow. But I, I guess if there's any fear is we just don't, I just like Chicago, we made 3 trips and Lou and I were discovering from the time we got off the plane on our very first trip, it was, well, let me clarify. Both Lou and I had been to Chicago many times, but never for planning a Mexican Spirits Festival. So I've never paid attention to whether there's good tequilas in Chicago. I know there's a huge tequila club. The Great Lakes Tequila Club is there, but we got off and we started seeing all the restaurants and their bars looked like, what I got behind me here, and we're going, wow, there's obviously a good agave community. We know that the New Jersey, New York Agave Club has all this and more. They're doing a lot of single barrel projects. They're really movers there. So we're hoping that there's a following that comes out and wants to attend our events. But I just don't really know the Long Island area.
With that, what would you say that going into New York, what's your personal why as to heading into Sabor, New York? Has it shifted since day one?
Going into New York?
Go ahead, Lou.
Go ahead.
No, I think it was October. Yeah, it was October last year when we met with Greg and Rich from the New York, New Jersey Agave Club, and we talked about this event, and they were passionate about us going there. So I mean, if we have a big club like that that's asking us to do this, I mean, we're not going to say no, especially if we can spread our brand. Started in LA, and honestly, at least for me, and I believe Lou as well, we thought this is going to be maybe an annual fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club, and that's it. And then the phone started ringing saying, hey, can you guys bring that to Chicago? Can you bring it to New York? Can you bring it to Atlanta? And it just, wow, and so obviously we said, yeah, let's try this. So here we are going to New York, and we've been busy, so we haven't made any trips out there to see how things are. But we're fortunate. We got Greg and Rich and even Lou Agave telling us a little bit about what we're getting into.
And I pose this question to both of you. Is there a message that you're sending to the East Coast agave community with this event?
Yeah, come out and join us and and taste some new stuff. We just want to make sure that we are representing the agave community well in New York, and that's my biggest goal, is to make sure that we're bringing some good brands out there to New York. I know they've always been like, hey, it's growing, and the thing is, yeah, in New York, it's the New York, New Jersey Agave Club itself. Their membership has just spiked, and then they're doing a great job out there. Those guys, you got Rich and Greg and all the other guys there. they're doing such a great job of promoting, quality tequila, quality spirits, and it's just booming. It's really taking off. And thing is, and that's just education. That's just education. They're educating, new people all the time on great spirits, and what to look for, what to taste for, all the different things that they're doing, and they're partnering up with all these different brands to provide these new single barrels that they have going on, and all these stuff. It's all this stuff is great, and all this is just promoting the agave community growth, in New York and surrounding areas. And we just want to continue that when we want to be a part of that growth. And it's always been my mission as we go into these other places now, obviously that wasn't my initial attempt, but as we go into these different areas and cities now, we want to keep promoting that, that growth, the education, that if we can have people give someone a chance to show up and try something that they never tried before or never thought about, or probably have only been exposed to that, that plastic bottle of tequila back in high school with, they got to drink down to the worm and all that other stuff. And, you know, end up dancing on top of tables. Well, you can do that too, but you do it the right way with good tequila, So, but we just want to promote. It's all about promoting good brands, good tequila, good agave spirits, and yeah, we can be a part of that. I think it'd be great. And I think New York and surrounding communities, they have a little bit of a, they definitely have room to grow.
And with this event, what would make you guys both walk away saying we've done this shit right?
If we can make some money,
I'll start, Lou. I'll start.
we can turn a profit.
Now you're getting way ahead of yourself, Lou. Make money. I think that I almost want to tag along to your previous question. The way the agave community is growing, every major metropolitan area seems to have a club, and it's almost like this is their turf. We're not barging in on anybody's turf. We were invited, I would say. Would you say, Lou, we were invited by the New York, New Jersey Agave Club? And I want to make sure that we view it as that way, as we need to do a good job for them and their guests. And if the New York, New Jersey Agave Club is excited about what we bring, then I would say we did it right.
Okay. So now I'm going to pose some rapid fire questions to you guys, and I'll just kind of alternate them. I'm going to start with Roger on this one. So, Chicago or New York, who's bringing the louder heat?
Ooh, it's hard because I've just done Chicago and there was some loud heat there, and we don't know about New Jersey, but I'm going to take the political stance here and say I'm sure it's going to be even. And so I don't want to favor one or the other. I don't know, Lou. You can go out on a limb.
No, I'm just gonna say it. Chicago brought it. I mean, Chicago. It was great. It was a great vibe. Everybody had a great time. So I don't know. We'll see what New York has to offer here. But definitely had some. Oh man, we made some lifelong friends now, because we definitely made some left Chicago with some friends. So yeah, if we can get the same kind of response here and we get there in New York, man, that'd be awesome. But yeah, I got a lot of love in Chicago.
All right, Lou. So, dream headliner for the next Sabor, who are you booking?
Dream headliner? Man, we got headliners in all our events. For New York,
doesn't have to be New York. Just one of the next Sabor events.
Dream headliner. You're talking about brands.
Could be a brand. Could be musician, mariachi.
I already have a mariachi. It's really good. Let's see what else. Yeah, you know what? I'm happy. We have so many brands. So as far as brands, man, we got so many headliners. We got great brands already part of LA, LA and Chicago. But man, don't really. I don't know, Roger. What do you think?
You had mentioned someone. I don't want to say it because we don't want to give it away. If we are going to book a dream headliner, it's going to be a surprise, right? So
Yeah.
maybe we'll
Fair
leave it
enough.
at
You got to leave the audience wondering. I love it. Cliffhangers.
that.
All right, Roger. What's one thing that people still get wrong about Sabor y Cultura?
Oh, that we're about quantity. And I think it's the exact opposite. We're about quality. You know, if we could throw an event with, say, 50 brands or throw an event that only had 20 brands, if the 20 brands are all high quality brands, especially high quality ones that people haven't tried, I'd much rather stand behind the 20 brand event than 50 just, just because. And you will never see the brands that often get talked about or are in the news today with lawsuits, et cetera. You will never see them at our event, despite them trying to get in and despite them willing to offer good money. Lou made a decision right from the beginning. We are not going to bring those brands. We're going to stick to quality. Now, some people may not enjoy the taste of every single brand that's there, but it's made the right way and it's a quality brand, and we're going to invite them. Because even Lou and I, our palates are different on some things. And so there was a brand there that I really enjoy, and Lou, it's just not his preferred taste. And I get it, and we understand that. But we all agree on one thing. There's a difference between a quality, well-made, traditionally made, additive free brands, and that's what we're going to stick with. Quantity will come, but we're not pushing quantity.
But you know what? Don't worry. If you're looking for someone for festivals that just focus on quantity and not quality, there's plenty of them out there. There's some coming up. So you can feel free. They have tickets available. They're readily available. You can find them. You can find them online. There's plenty of those kind of events. He goes, but for us, I hope you're able to tell a difference. And it's not just we're not just doing it for money, obviously, because we're not making any, but we're doing it. We are doing it. We're putting our hearts into it. We are putting our souls, and our passion, is evident. So that's the one takeaway you can get from us and our event, that we actually care. We really do care. And we're not just there trying to push a business. We're not just there trying to push, this machine forward. We're really trying to, try to do something. Really trying to promote something. But if you're looking for the other stuff, hey, go ahead. There's plenty of them out there.
My final question to both of you: what in one word describes Sabor?
Passion.
I just said it. Quality, passion. There you go.
Great. All right. Where can everyone find you guys on social media?
The world famous Roger Bravo. That's not only his name, that's also his handle.
Yeah.
Right there, look.
You'll find my logo, Roger Bravo. It's my name. People think it's a made up thing, but no, that's my real name. But Sabor y Cultura events, right?
Yeah, that's
on
Sabor y
Instagram.
Cultura events on Instagram, and also we have it on we have TikTok and Facebook. But yeah, and then for me, just Pyro Lou. And if anybody has any questions, you can just look me up, send me a message, send me a DM anytime, or send Roger a message. Roger loves to respond to all those messages, direct messages. He loves them. He loves answering everyone's questions. You guys can even ask him for his phone number. You guys can call him. It doesn't matter, any time of the day. He loves it.
All right, guys. Well, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for putting on such a great events that you guys do put on. I look forward to the future events. And all right, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.
All right, bye.
Thank you, Matt. Bye.